together for the next how many years?
Well, we really worked real close together until the Jimmy Carter election. Um, I got disgruntled with the community when Carter ran for president, and I thought he did an outstanding job, even though history will never show it. And the next time, his ratings were so bad, it seemed like everybody abandoned him. I
Jimmy
mean,
Carter?
yes. I mean, I'm talking about in the black community. I talked to a guy I had a lot of respect for. I said, man, when y'all gonna set the peanut gallery up? He said, man, you better get as far away from that as you can. I'm from the country. I thought you'd go down with a brother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But politics don't work like that. In politics, you play to win. And I've been in the church ever since. And now I found out I wasted a lot of years in the church because we got this politics in the church that will not allow you to do anything that's for good. Even Martin Luther King, his biggest foe was the church. They even had to set up a whole new convention because the president of the national wouldn't even recognize it. And let me tell you, and that bitterness lasts. They changed the name of the street in front of his church to Martin Luther King. You know, every city had to have a Martin Luther King. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
And his church was on the corner. He changed the address from Martin Luther King to that street on the corner. I'm talking about the president of our national. You understand what I'm saying? You see, and those are the type of things. Because just like you guys coming here from, I know King Tut came in here from out of state, but this is a great city. It has great education facilities. I think the AU students, their effect on this city is unconscionable because it draws the best black minds, in particular during segregation. It was drawing some of the best black minds in the country right to this little group.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Spelman is
absolutely.
still knowing that today.
Okay.
So, it's got a lot to offer. And just like y'all was saying, I never worried about it too much. In North Carolina, one thing you did was you didn't go south. You know, when you get ready to graduate and getting out of school, you don't go south. My college friend said, man, you going to Georgia? He said,
Jim Crow, huh? You don't want to fool with Jim Crow.
Right, you head north. People would go to Washington, D.C.,
New York City.
People over in Texas, they would go up to Colorado. You know, everybody was moving north. Chicago, Memphis, go to Chicago. So I came to Georgia because I had a good job with them whites. And I did everything white management told me to do, and I had no problem. Most of us go into a situation like that, like we know. We don't know business like white America know business. You might as well get that in your head. And as soon as we learn to settle down and let somebody teach you something, you can go along.
We know it all already. You can't teach us nothing.
Already,
We know it all
I'm
already.
sticking
You
to
know that? We know it all.
already.
We know more. We think we know more, and we don't listen.
Let me say that. Most big positions I have ever had, Brother Pruitt was the lead in. I worked hard. We was in the Wiseman Club. I ended up having a region in the International Wiseman, a regional director.
And that is truly a mentor. But you know what? I don't want to talk about corporate America. I want to talk about the dirty stuff. So tell me about this organization called the KKK. Have you had any experience with them?
Not really personally, not as a group, but you know, the people that make up that group, you see them every day. You might meet them, one on your job, one on your job, one on their job, and they collectively get together.
But I'm
and
talking
say,
about, I want to go back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, when the lynchings and things were going on, and how that the fear was put into our communities.
Well, bear in mind that our foreparents shielded us. We didn't get a chance to see things like that, like kids do now. We didn't have a television, and when grown people talked about that, children were excused.
You know, it's funny that you say that. Now, Bam and I had a similar conversation that you knew your parents had sex, but they didn't do it in front of you. You knew your parents drank, but they didn't do it in front of you.
Right.
Anything bad was covered up. You didn't know it.
You were pushed
If
aside.
Uncle George went to jail, you didn't know it.
And didn't get named after him either. You were named after your people in your family did well. If you had one was a drunkard, none of the children there.
Yeah, and I'm trying to tell that's something
Right.
that's screwed up with
Right.
today's generation.
Right. That
You-
was the
there's too
difference.
much exposure.
There's a difference between grown people and children.
Exactly.
But now I hear mother say, "Well, I'm my daughter's best friend." It wasn't like that when I was coming up.
Does that remind you of a conversation I had?
If grown people were talking, and as a little boy, you didn't stand and look up in grown folks' face. You were told to go on back, go back, go back. And we probably hurt ourselves by doing that so much and helped ourselves. I saw my grandfather. Never had a conversation with him in my life. I could have found out who his father was. I could have found out where he came from. But you didn't ask him questions.
You were the
You
child.
said,
The child.
"Get outta here,
child
boy."
play. Exactly.
You don't talk to grown people. You said grown people talk to grown people. Whether it was about you or somebody else, you wouldn't hear your mother, father down the neighbor next door. They wouldn't let you. Didn't hear that. You were told to shut that door and go in here and do that. You know, you had respect for it. I grew up in a 3-room house, and we didn't have we had a tin tub you took a bath in. If my mother had shut that door and taken a bath, nobody opened that door. You know, all she had to do was say, "I'm going to take a bath." You didn't open that door. But, you know, she didn't have to tell you that. You know, and if my brother came out and said, "Mama taking a bath," you know, because I would be held responsible if I knew it and he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you tried to keep him out of trouble and you kept yourself out of trouble. But it's not like that now.
Now, Brother Whitley made a statement, and I really agreed with him. He said he had a buddy that was in the north, and he was in the south, and what his parents was teaching him in the north, your own parents were teaching you in the south. And even listening to you, that's how I grew up. And like you said, sometimes I think it might have hurt me, you know, because we were, you know, sent to your room.
Right.
This is an adult parents conversation. You didn't give your input, you know.
Right.
It ain't where you want to go for vacation.
Right.
This is where we're
going.
going. Yeah.
Well, it didn't just go in something as large as vacation. It started in the morning when you ate. You cooked and it was on the table. Now we ask a child, "What do you want for breakfast? You want sausage, cereal?" We have a menu for them. And they turn all that down, then you have to come up with something new. See, but when I went to the table in the morning, it was cooked and on the table. That's what you got.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you ate them green beans whether you liked them or not.
Right, right.
You know, and that's, you know, that is all gone. That is all gone.
Yeah, your parents loved you, but they weren't touched by you like parents seem to be now. If a child says he's hungry and he doesn't want all you cook, you try to come up with something. My mother told me, "Well, you get nothing and go to bed then."
Yeah.
Hours too later, I would say, "I'm hungry." So you better shut your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now that's until the next morning.
That's right.
Yeah, something more was put in there, you know, cooked for you to eat. And so you learned to take what was put before you, and that resonated out on the job. You said, "How did you feel when other people said different things?" You took things. You were educated. We were told when we would go places, so now if you meet the other colored people on the sidewalk, you all cross over and go to the other side, you know, before you have a confrontation. And you kind of skirted things, you know. They wanted you to come back home because it's a good possibility if you got in a confrontation, you may not make it back home. And their love for you and their caring and looking out for you worked in words as well as it did physically when they were with you. They taught you how to do things, and that carried over. Not too long ago, I was walking home from the grocery store, and I was meeting a couple of fellows on the sidewalk, so I crossed over on the other side.
That was recently?
Yes. And when I got even with them in the street, they said to me, "Oh man, you didn't have to cross over." And I said, well, to myself, I said, "Yes, I did. You don't know what I know." Yeah. Sometimes we can skirt issues if we start to think before they take place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
exactly. And I do a lot of that, and I think Bam finds me guilty because I anticipate a
Right.
whole lot. I anticipate,
Right.
you know, and I was trying to explain to a young man the other day about life and older men versus younger men, and I was trying to make it as clear as I could make it. I was like, it's almost like they're standing in line to see a movie that I already saw, so I know how it plays out. If you do this, this, and this, I know who's gonna get killed in the movie. I know who to start with.
Right.
You standing in line, you don't know, and I'm trying to tell you, now this movie ain't no good. You know, don't waste your money. Go a different direction.
Right.
But it seems like young people resent hearing that.